And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big Sean McCarthy.
Well, hello to everyone. It is the Weighing In podcast. There's things happening all over. People are getting jumped in the middle of restaurants. It's awesome. You got to love everything that's happening. Fighting in the streets is a good thing, Josh. Look at life is a fight. You got to be fighting all the time. You're always fighting, and there's nothing wrong with it. And if certain guys want to fight in a restaurant, do it.
I speak from experience. Fighting the streets is not the
Not
business.
a good idea.
It's
Puts you in a
not
bad
the
spot.
business. I speak from a lot of experience, you guys. Okay. No, it's not good. It's not good. Especially when you have kids at home. What are you doing? Oh man. Anyways, hey, shit happens. They'll get it all sorted out. Maybe some fines will be paid. They'll move on. But I'm just gonna say one thing: Leon Edwards didn't press charges.
Oh, look at that right there.
Oh,
Leon's the man.
I love that there's a little bit of beef, but come on, guys. I mean, we should have just figured it out in the cage. If
You have your chance in the cage. That's the best. The best part about the sport of MMA, and the best part about that cage, is you get to punch your opponent in the face, and they're not going to press charges.
Yep.
You do it outside of the cage, someone can press charges.
That's true. All right, well, hey, let's get into the fight business first. We'll get into the news later, all that TMZ type talk later. That's really what it is. It's basically like Kardashian talk is what it is. Oh, man. All right, let's talk about, well, first, Dave's put up some new shirts on our weighinginpodcast.com, so go there, weighinginpodcast.com. There's no code. Prices are basically priced, so you guys can pick up as much as you guys can.
Prices.
The prices are good, though. Actually, they're really good. So we got hoodies, you got crew neck sweaters. Are they sweaters or sweatshirts?
Sweatshirts.
Whatever,
you always say
thing.
Sweater. Someone is going to buy that. Expect this hand-woven sweater to come.
No.
They're going to be very disappointed because of your inability to distinguish what a sweatshirt is and what a sweater is.
Tomato. No one gets it.
No, it's not. And it's not a potato or a potato. It's a sweatshirt.
Since Josh says that British people like it most, we actually call them jumpers in Britain. So
jumpers. Whatever
Jesus.
those are. So we have sweatshirts. We got hoodie sweatshirts. We've got all different colors of shirts. We got our old original logo, which is our OG logo, which I actually love. And then, we got our beast mode shirts. We got the new hindsight is 50-50. That is up. And then we also have the new and still that Dave had worked effortlessly on, and that is up as well. It's weighinginpodcast.com. Yeah, tirelessly, effortlessly.
That means it was very easy for him.
There's another Joshism.
Yeah, he worked so hard. It was effortlessly.
Tirelessly. There you go. You guys, I'm
so good at my job. It was effortless and
there you go. See, Dave knew how to flip the script for me. All right, guys. WeighingInPodcast.com. Also, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel as well as all of our audio platforms. They are growing. It's getting big, John. The audio platforms and the listening has gotten a lot bigger. We are on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, Spotify, of course, which we are still trying to get in touch with Spotify to get us put up as video. I don't know if that's even possible. I know that Rogan is on there, but I understand that Rogan is Rogan.
So
things apply a little differently to Joe Rogan.
Of Joe Rogan.
Yes. I am not putting myself in that category as Joe Rogan, but come on, man. Let the rest of us get some love. No, but I understand. I would love to be on their platform in a video form. So if someone has a connection with Spotify, can you guys reach out to us and let us know? Because we would like to get our video
do you think there could be a singer or some type of artist that is on Spotify that gets mad at us and maybe wants to pull their stuff unless we're shut down? I think we'd get shut down.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah. All right, hey, let's talk about one championship. They've got a show coming up. It's the same day as the UFC, but obviously because of the time change, I believe it's in Singapore. Yep, Singapore Indoor Stadium. Yep. So that is happening, which is nice that Singapore is having indoor events because they were one of the most locked down countries in the world for the longest time. Misha Tate was living over there working for one, and she's just like, look, I love working for the company. I love being here. But she's like, but it's just too much.
Do it.
It's too hard. It was way too hard. And I think she had a new baby at the time, and it was just too difficult. So I think that her and her now husband or fiance have moved back to the States. They're
Johnny Nunez.
And so Yeah, but I mean, Singapore was one of the most locked down areas. But you've got Angela Lee. She is making not her return, but her second return, I think is what John was saying. It's her second fight back since having a baby, and she is fighting Stamp, which is Fairtex Stamp.
Stamp.
However you want to.
Fairtex.
Yep. Yeah. So she is a stud on the feet. This should be a fun fight, but this is a throwback style fight. You've got jiu-jitsu person versus kickboxer.
Stand-up person. Yeah.
This should be a fun fight, though. Realistically, it should be fun. Angela Lee is a stud coming back after having a baby. She is still young, still really good. Her younger sister is also with Juan, who is really good as well.
17 now?
Yeah, her brother is also, or was the former
Christian
champ
Lee.
at 155, Christian Lee. He's a stud as well. Yep. The family's breeding them right, whatever they're doing. just killing it, man. I mean, so overall, I'm excited to see her fight. I'm excited to see her back in the mix, and this should be a fun fight. Well, ladies and gentlemen, March Madness has officially begun, and guess what? They've got all your betting odds at mybookie.ag. And we had the UFC tonight, fight night, over in London. Absolute barn burner of a fight. It was amazing. And I got to tell you, there was plenty of fights for you guys to put down some money, make some money, and the same thing with March Madness. Been a couple upsets already. Iowa going down in the first round. Absolutely amazing. But go to mybookie.ag, use that promo code Wayne in. You could win a little extra spending cash. And if you use that QR code right there, they'll give you a little extra money for your first initial deposit. Okay, because of Big John and I using our promo code Wayne in. You guys hit that mybookie.ag, use that promo code Wayne in, use that QR code right there for your first initial deposit for a little extra spending cash, and hopefully you guys can make some money at mybookie.ag.
This is the throwback to, look, Angela Lee is a dynamite grappler, and you want to call her Stamp Fairtex, non-stamp, whatever you want to say. She's a dynamite stand-up fighter, very good Muay Thai, great kicks. So it's really the question, can she keep it on the feet? Or can Angela get her to the ground? Whichever one is able to keep the fight in their domain, they're the one that's going to probably win that fight.
Exactly. You got Adriano Moraes. He's also on the card. He's the guy that actually
actually knocked out DJ.
Yep, which is crazy insane. Now, look, I don't want to put too much on. I understand the knockout was a knockout. The rules were different. He need him in the head when he was on the ground. Those are the rules over there.
Yeah, but he meant to.
And he meant to. This is
went
very
to
true.
He made it happen. So it was a beautiful technique, legally done. That's part of the rules for one, and it put DJ in a position he couldn't go on in the fight. Good job,
John. I'm having a little bit of a hard time though with the one on how they're doing their weight cutting. I don't understand it. Do you understand a little bit more?
Yeah, I understand it. I understand
Because
what they've decided to do, but
what's killing me though is that like it seems like these guys are so much bigger than the ones that have fought in the U.S. promotions.
That's because they are.
And so how are they doing it though? That's what I want to know. Why do they seem like they're so much bigger?
Because they are. Let's just be honest. What one decided to try to do is to take the fighters and introduce them into what a hydrated athlete would be as far as the technical numbers associated. They gave them instruments that they could test themselves. And they were told that you need to be within this range when we weigh you as far as hydration and weight. So the extreme weight cutting as far as the dropping of, fluids from your system, like you'll see with fighters out of the UFC, Bellator, PFL, they can't do it the same way. Now, they can lose a little bit. They can do a little bit with it, but you've got to be a hydrated fighter when you step on the scale. They will test you to make sure that you are what they consider a fully hydrated fighter. Once you have tested that, yes, you're fully hydrated, you can now step on the scale and you have to weigh within your category. Now, your category is different than what the unified rules are. We look at a lightweight as 155 pounds. We look at a welterweight as 170 pounds. One is saying, look, let's just be honest. Josh Thompson, when you fought, you weighed in at 155 pounds, and by the time that you walked into the cage, you were 170, 171 pounds.
Yep.
Okay. And so they're saying, all right, we're just trying to get rid of that. We don't want you to cut that weight down and then to gain it back. That's not healthy. We want you to maintain a healthy weight throughout, weigh in, you can weigh the 170 pounds. So that means that you, a guy that normally walked around at 171, 72 pounds, you would have to lose 2 pounds of weight. How hard was that for you to do? That's a half hour of you moving.
Yeah.
And so that's what their athletes are. That's what they try to do. Now, is it perfect? Now, there's no perfect in anything, but it's a great attempt at trying to keep their athletes healthy from dehydration.
No, I understand what they are. I get that part of what you just explained. I understand that. But why is it then that DJ looks so much smaller than Adriano Moraes? And the same thing with the guys that Eddie Alvarez is fighting. I'm like, these guys look huge.
Because they are. They're big.
They are big, but how are they weighed the same? Or why are they in the same weight class?
They are in the same weight class, and they're weighing close to the same amount. It's just that you're used to seeing. Let's be honest. DJ is 5'1", 5'2". Yeah. All right.
You might be blessing him with an inch or two.
Maybe, and okay. So but that's it says 5'3". Yeah. Okay, so we'll say he's 5'3". Okay. But Moraes is 5'8". So first off, he looks bigger, and then when you get into it, should be that DJ kind of looks like the bulkier guy, but he doesn't. No. Moraes looks like the more heavily muscled guy and stuff, and this is just part of that they give a range, and there's not an athletic commission there to sit there and say, "Burp, here's the numbers. This is where we're cutting it." You have the promotion that's in charge of their weighing system, and as long as they say, "Yeah, we're going to allow that fight," then that fight's going to go, and then the fighters have to agree upon. That's what you signed up for when you signed with ONE FC, and it going in.
Yeah, I just think I see when I look at the weight of Eddie Alvarez. I'll give you another example. Is Sage Northcutt when he fought Cosmo. Cosmo was a lot bigger than him. A lot bigger than him. I mean, and when I saw them, I was like, "Damn, they don't even look like the same. They don't look like the same weight class. How is that possible?"
One looked like it was a welterweight, and one looked like a middleweight.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they were. It seemed like when they got in the cage, because after he got hit one time, it was over. You know what I mean? Like that made me feel like, okay, there's something going on that's not it doesn't seem right. Like, I don't know. I feel like there should be this thing where, and I said this, I think you were there. Were you there no, you weren't there.
Yes, I was.
Were you the one down in LA when I was there? Okay. Yeah. So that there is when we talked to the commission there in California, I said, hey, I think the best way to do this is to, if you fight at 55, no matter what, you can't exceed the weight class above at the moment you fight. Mm-hmm. The only problem is, so if I can never fight over 170, then you only have guys really, if they are going to cut, they're going to cut 1 pound right before they have to fight, which is basically shadow boxing in the back warming up. All the ones that are like a Khabib and an Islam, those guys would have to go to 170 because there's no way the amount of weight that they keep on, the amount of weight they put on after they make weight is like in the 76 to 78 range, and so they'd have to go to 170. Now they could probably go up to like whatever their natural weight is when they fight. The same thing though with like Usman and whoever else is, those other guys, Kamaru Usman and those other guys at that weight class at 70, they'd probably have to go up in weight. I've always just felt that way. Is the best way to regulate the weight cutting situation is if you fight at 55, you can't exceed 170. The only issue that I have with it is that when you get to like 185 to 205, that's 15 pounds. But then you go 205 to heavyweight, it's like,
I hate to tell you, 185 to 205 is 20 pounds, dude.
20 pounds. There you go. Josh Thompson math. Okay, you know what I mean? So
I was thinking
70.
Because if I didn't say it, someone's going to say something about, man, you guys don't understand what weight is.
No, I was thinking 70 to 85. Yeah.
70 to 85 is that's at 15 pounds.
Yeah, but I mean, like, so that's where it's not fair. Is that if weight classes were every 10 pounds, like you go 70, if you went 55 to 65 to 65, 65 to 75, 75 to 85, you understand? But then when you get to 95, you can't do it because there's not enough talent to do it that way. You know what I mean? So I understand the frustration. It gets me a little. I see guys like DJ, right? He's not a big guy to begin with. Then he looks like when he fought Adriano, he just looked so much smaller. The power was definitely a deal. The speed, the reach, the range, all that stuff seemed like definitely a big problem for him. Same thing with Eddie Alvarez. All the guys when he fought Oak, he looked way smaller than Oak. When he fought Foy Long, he's smaller than Foy Long. You know, when he fought these guys, I'm like, damn, they're a lot smaller. Why are they supposed? They're supposed to be the same weight class, but they're not. And so, I don't know. I just feel like it's not. I know it's not a perfect science, but something's wrong with it. It doesn't seem, and it seems like it's favored the fighters that have been already there.
Yeah,
that's the thing that kind of like the ones that are already there kind of favors them. So, anyways, overall though, you got Moraes fighting. How do you even say it? Waka Matsui.
Oh.
You've got Demetrius Johnson is also on here as well versus Rotong. So Rotong is good. He's good on the feet. He's, like I've seen him fight in terms of like they do like exhibitions. I've seen him do exhibitions there in Singapore. But he's tough. He's good. Unless it's a different one that I'm thinking of.
No, he's tough and good, but on the ground,
Yeah.
DJ has a distinct advantage.
Yeah.
But he's got to get the fight to the ground. So
DJ's fast on the wrestling. He's got good wrestling. He's got good transitions for the submissions. You know, he's a dog on top. I mean, but the size. I go back to the size.
How about Shinya Aoki against Sexy Yama,
Sexy
baby?
Yama.
Going Sexy Yama.
He's
That's
still
what I never.
fighting.
I think the first time I watched Akiyama fight, I think he was a light heavyweight. Then he went to middleweight, and now he's a welterweight.
Yeah.
Fighting Aoki.
Yeah.
Aoki's called him out. You were talking about. He called him out big time. So
yeah, I wish you could pull it. Dave, can you see if you find that video? There's a video of him literally talking shit to him.
ooh,
Yeah. He's like, I think he called him a coward. Something along, something like that. He's like, that's another level of, for Japanese to say things like that, it's, ooh.
yeah,
But overall, like, I think that's going to be a good fight. Aoki's got to get him down. Akiyama, like, he's going to be touching him on the, Sexy Yama's going to be touching him on the chin. It's going to be hard to take down. And him on top is going to be dangerous if he gets him against the fence.
Oh,
So it should be a fun fight, man. It should be fun. And the two of them, they've obviously had words from before. So it's something. And then I think it's going to be a fun fight. I think for the Japanese fans, I think for me, just being a hardcore old MMA fan, Aoki's been around a long time, you know, and so
it
is
old?
Sexy Yama. No, it's just recently. That's how this fight all came to fruition. They had the trash talking. So, well, you keep looking for it. We'll talk about the UFC card.
I'll tell you the part that's amazing to me though is, I mean, obviously you've been around and known Aoki for a long time. We're talking he's about 55 fights into his career.
It's crazy.
That's amazing.
I was supposed to fight him 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
Yeah, it just never came about. Yeah.
he's been fighting. You know, it's amazing.
Yeah. He's just so good at one area of expertise in the ground.
yeah.
He is nasty good.
His ground game.
Yeah, his ground game is and the way his body is shaped. He's tall, long, and lanky. He is that guy who he starts working on the legs. He's got good ankle locks. He's good with his triangles. He's good with his arm bars. He's good at taking the back. He's good at getting everywhere.
Yep.
And his body style helps him get to that position with the way he uses his legs as leverage to kind of lock your position down. He's good, man. His chin's a little suspect. It's been suspect for a while, but he's definitely good in terms of, you know, making sure he doesn't take a lot of damage. I mean, he's been finished a couple times, but overall, he's finished a lot of people in all of his years of fighting.
I remember the last time I saw him get finished, I think it was against Ben Askren.
Yep. Oh, here's the call out right here.
Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, I'd like to hear it. How long of this can we play without getting
I
taken
don't
down?
know if you can hear it because he's going to be speaking Japanese.
Yeah,
it's
that
from
is true. So-
one. Do you want me just to read it off as he says it?
Yeah, go ahead and read it off.
All right. So he says, I wake up and I train.
I wake up and I work. Come on, Dave, keep up.
I try my hard. John,
Try my
I didn't
hardest.
realize it. I
Not
didn't realize it
enough.
had changed. I wake up and I work. I try my hardest every single day. I've had enough. Living is full of suffering. I've had enough of this life. I've tried my hardest in martial arts, and after fighting for 20 years, I've realized just how lonely this is, but still I continue fighting. On September 6th, there was an offer to fight. Why'd you decline the offer? Come on, say it, don't lie. He's exhausted, that's why he's so slow.
Yeah.
No, man, he's calling.
Say
He's
something
looking. He's going over to the cage, over to the opening, calling him out.
Nothing to laugh about. Come on, say something. I mean, sure, many of you know this by checking social media.
He's looking right at Sexyama as he's saying this.
Yep.
And Sexyama is the commentator.
The reason I've declined is I tore a muscle. That he says that doesn't matter. Along with the doctor's orders, there were other factors that went in declining the offer. And as for me, it was very, very disappointing. I believe a martial artist should be standing in the ring and putting on fights. Now they're talking to each other. But unfortunately, after many tests, I was in a position where I couldn't do anything but decline. I'm aware of the inconvenience this has caused for many people.
Yeah, so they've been waiting to try to put this fight together for a while, huh? I mean...
So, I mean, they're literally, like, having a conversation.
Yeah. At the end, towards the... I believe it's, like... There was a segment, though, that I saw, basically. He was yelling saying, like, you know, basically called him a coward and said, like, hey, you know, like, why aren't you taking the fight? He called him he said something about... It was asterisk, 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 so he must have called him a bad word.
That passed already.
Yeah. Anyways, look,
all right.
It's gonna be a good fight once they do.
So apparently,
cage.
Aoki doesn't like him.
He plays a pretty good heel, though, John.
Oh,
I
he
mean,
does.
I gotta be honest. He's grown on me in terms of a heel. So overall,
He's always been a heel.
It's two legends, though. Two legends in the sport are gonna get in the cage, and I gotta try to find a way to make sure we watch this.
When you go and you break someone's arm with a Kimura, just shatter it, and then stand over him and double bird him. You're not the crowd favorite as far as being the nice guy.
Not in Japan. Oh, you can't do that in Japan. Expect everyone to like you after that. They think it's very disrespectful.
Exactly.
Interesting. Like he pointed at him and like made laughing noises and then like gave him the double bird.
Yep.
I remember that. All right, but let's get into the UFC.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Chris Daukaus against Curtis Blaydes. Is this a heavyweight fight you want to see? Come on.
I think
be honest.
John, this is what I think. If you were to say, let's have Chris Daukaus first fight Curtis Blaydes, I'd say, yeah, I'll hard pass.
Okay.
Like, it doesn't interest me. But to be fair, this is another one of those throwback fights that I could see basically being a good fight.
All right, now we want to talk about something that's really important. Important for you personally and definitely important for your family and even friends, and that is Butcher Box, because feeding your family is one of the most important things you can do. Putting good food on the table, having things that are healthy for them. Well, Butcher Box brings all of that to you. The benefits of buying high-quality beef, meat, fish, chicken, pork, it cannot be understated. You need to understand when you are buying sometimes from the store, you're getting a lot of hormones, a lot of bad things that are put in there. This is all grass-fed meat, all highest standard chicken. This is the best of the best. I'm telling you, I get Butcher Box, and I love what comes out of that package. First off, it's sent to you. It's clean. All the meat, you look at it, it's beautifully wrapped, beautifully taken care of, and it's all still ice cold, ready to go if you want to unfreeze it. I'm telling you, this is the way to go if you are going to feed your family quality food. Butcher Box will take care of all your problems, because sometimes you go to the store and what you want is not there. I'm telling you right now, I love ribeyes. Ribeyes are unbelievably good. And so when I get my ribeyes from Butcher Box, boom, time for what I call the reverse sear. The reverse sear is how I do my ribeyes. I take them, I put them in the oven 10 minutes, put some butter on it, little seasoning, take them out, throw them in a scalding hot pan and sear each side for a couple of minutes, and you are talking about perfection. But the best part about Butcher Box is not only can I do that ribeye for me, I can go and put salmon on the same grill, same oven and pan for my wife, because they have fresh salmon, they have chicken, they have pork, everything that you want. Each box contains about 8 to 14 pounds of meat. That's a lot of meat, depending upon the type of box that you get. And it's packed fresh and shipped frozen for your convenience. This is the way to go if you want to sustain yourself with the highest quality meats, everything that's there. This is your chance to never have to shop for ground beef again, because right now, if you order with ButcherBox using the promo code of weighing in, you will get 2 pounds of free ground beef for life every time you get a new order. Every time you order, that is 2 pounds of ground beef for free. You're talking about free meat. How can you go wrong? This is the greatest thing ever. This is your chance for someone just to give you something. So I want you to go to butcherbox.com/weighing in and get 2 pounds of ground beef for free with every order that you have. This is for your lifetime of your membership. So ButcherBox is offering this to our listeners, and it's an addition to $10 off. That's 2 pounds of free ground beef for life and $10 off of your first box. Log into butcherbox.com/weighing in to claim this deal and use that promo code weighing in. ButcherBox, there's nothing better.
If Daukaus can keep this fight on the feet, he's got a good chance of winning by knockout. Okay? And if Curtis Blaydes gets the takedown, he's got a good chance of grinding this out, potentially getting a ground and pound type finish. Daukaus is better off of his back, okay, than Curtis Blaydes is on his feet. So I think Daukaus can outstrike him on the feet. Curtis Blaydes got good stand-up. Don't get me wrong. It's not great, but he's got good stand-up. That fight happening on the feet, it's going to favor Daukaus. And when the fight hits the ground, if Daukaus is on bottom, he's pretty good at getting up. He's got pretty decent submissions. He's going to be a little bit of a hard test for Curtis on the ground, but Curtis obviously has the advantage. So I look for Curtis to do some work. If he can slow Daukaus down with the takedowns and grind on him in a 5-round fight, because what Curtis has, he's got good cardio.
He can go.
Yeah, he can go. He reminds me a little bit of Corey Anderson.
Okay.
He reminds me of Corey Anderson a little bit. You know, I mean, I think Corey's gotten a little bit better on the feet than he has. But you know, different weight class. Not different weight class, but different weight classes.
Different weight class.
But I think Curtis gotten good. He's gotten a little bit better on the ground, on the feet as well. But he's a good wrestler and he's a good grinder. He's got good cardio, and that's what you need if you're going to be a wrestler in this division.
Look, he's probably one of the best wrestlers in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Give me another one.
He's only had.
Yeah, I don't. The heavyweights don't really have a whole lot of.
No, I would say
Stipe
matches up, you know, as far as the wrestling and stuff. But
yep.
Aspinall's getting there.
Yeah, his transition was smooth from the strike to the takedowns.
It looked really good. So
that was.
But there's only been 2 guys that have beaten Curtis Blaydes. 2.
Yeah.
Okay, now the knockout by Derek Lewis was, I mean, vicious and awesome.
2 or 3. He's got 3 losses.
Yeah, but lost to Francis Ngannou twice.
Ah, gotcha.
So he's only had 2 guys that beat him. And my whole point is both of those guys have massive power.
Yeah. Massive
power. And so I look at this fight and I go, Daukaus is good on his feet. He's got good movement. He's more of a volume type of striker. You know, he sits there and he just puts shots on you. But all those shots that he's putting on him, he's going to end up getting into that clinch. And is his wrestling good enough to keep him in the standing position? That's the real question. I don't know. It might be, but it's going to be tough because Blaydes can wrestle. And like you said, he's got a gas tank. He can go. The only time I ever saw him get kind of tired was when he fought Volkov. You know, in that 5-round fight, but you know that can happen. There's a lot of different scenarios and why, but it's a good matchup. I really like Chris Daukaus. I think he's a fun fighter to watch. He's got good stand up. He's got good movement. He's got good footwork. His ground game and his jiu-jitsu is not bad at all. So it's an interesting fight. I do like it. I think the whole card that they have, you know, when we start going down the card, there's some cool fights in this card.
Yeah, I got a lot of flack, I guess, for saying it was a sneaky good card last week. And I'm like, it was one of those, they're like, what are you talking about? It has a bunch of names for UK people. Okay. But they're not big names in the sport. I mean, like, They're good. They were good fighters, people that are making their way up, but they weren't like a Masvidal, Colby Covington. They weren't those type of levels of fighters. They weren't a Kamaru Usman. They weren't that level of a fighter.
No.
So when I say a sneaky good card, it takes 2 fighters to fight. You know, and so when I was looking at last week's card, I'm like, don't just look over it real quick and be like, oh yeah, there's no big names on it, you know. And so that's why I called it a sneaky good card, you guys. I mean, it ended up delivering. It was a fantastic card.
But also, Josh, you wouldn't go into it thinking this is going to be an amazing card that it turned out to be, right? It's kind of your point as well. Like, that's why it's sneaky good, because it snuck up on you.
Yeah. And that was what I was trying to say. Like, there was names, and stylistically, the matchups were there in last week's card. And I think we're going to see a little bit of this too. Maybe it's definitely not as deep as it was for last week's London card, but this card also has a couple good fights on here as well. You've got 4 or 5 on here that I'm like, John and I were talking before we came on, and we're like, this is going to be a good card. This has the opportunity. I don't think
it'd be better than London. That's going to be hard. That was London. A great card.
But it was stacked deeper. It was deeper. Yeah. They wanted to go back to London. They wanted to go back overseas and deliver a big card, which they needed to, because they've got, you know, they have Patty, they've got, you know, other fighters that are trying to make a name now for themselves. They want to go back into London with the splash, and they did. They did exactly what they did.
Yeah.
Nice work. This card here, Curtis Blaydes and Daukaus, I think it's a good main event. I don't think it's a great main event, but I think it will shape up to be a good fight.
I agree.
You know, and when it comes down to styles, the styles make matchups. One's going to be sprawling and brawling, and the other one's going to be trying to grind for the takedown, but Curtis will stand. He will throw some strikes. Daukaus doesn't have knockout power. Sure, he's gotten some drops. You know, he's got some knockouts on his record, but he doesn't have one crunch, Derek Lewis, Ngannou power. So Blaydes, even though he's been fit, like with Derek Lewis, even though that's happened, it doesn't mean it's going to happen because of Daukaus. You're talking about guys that have one crunch power. That's a difference. And so this should be a fun fight. A little scrap back and forth. Whoever can implement their game plan is going to win. Now you've got Joanne Wood versus Alexa Grasso. Alexa Grasso's, I mean, outside of being absolutely gorgeous, she's, you know what I mean? But, you know, I'm just saying.
Is this your level?
She can scrap.
Yeah, she can scrap. She's a good fighter.
She can scrap.
Yeah.
You know, and Joanne Wood, she can scrap. I'm call her Calderwood, but
she was Calderwood. Now
I
she's just Wood.
I know. Now I should call her Wood.
Yeah. So, Joanne Wood.
Joanne Wood. But both of them can fight. This should be a fun fight. I look at this as being one of those scraps back and forth. That's gonna be it. But John,
the next one, that's the one. Matt Brown against one of my favorites to watch, Bryan Barberena.
You skipped one. You skipped one.
No. Did I?
Yes, you skipped the other one that I think is going to be the fight of the night. You can't go to the next fight. That's not the fight of the night.
I can't. I like the Matt Brown.
You go Barberena, Matt Brown. I'll talk about the better fight after. Go ahead.
Okay, you can do that. I agree. I talked about it. That's a great fight. Great matchup.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about fun, Matt Brown against Barberena is going to be great because they both go for it. Both of them are tough as hell. I think this is one of those fights I just look at and go, that is a fight I pay for. I love that fight.
See, and I feel the same way about the other fight. With Askarov and Kai Kara-France, I feel the same way about that. Kai Kara-France is going to sprawl and brawl, trying to let the hands go. Askarov's going to walk him down with big punches and just wrestle fuck him to death and just put on some big ground and pound, but he's going to throw big shots.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be some exchanges on the feet that Askarov's got power. He's going to come forward,
so
throw
does
big
France.
shots, and so does France. And I'm like, this should be a fun fight. One is more of a slick style stand-up guy, and the other one is more of like he will take a shot to deliver a shot as well as utilize his wrestling and his positioning. This is going to make for, I think that's going to be fight of the night. It has the potential to be fight of the night, but I'm not going to disagree with you.
Matt Brown
and Matt Brown will be a good fight as well.
It
will be a good fight as well. Those two fights to me are going to steal the show. Now, Latifi versus Oleinik, I think it makes for a fun fight. You don't think so?
It's going to be it's a knockout or a submission. I'm just looking at it that way. Latifi's got power. He can hurt. You know, Oleinik is just not fast, and it's part of his stand up is pretty plodding, and his chin is not as good as it once was, and it doesn't take as much to hurt him. And Latifi's got power in his hands. He's strong. But if the fight hits the ground, even if Latifi's in the top position, he needs to be careful because Oleinik is slick and he will pull off a damn submission. He'll use that Ezekiel choke. He'll do all kinds of different things, baseball chokes. He does all kinds of good, great submission technique. And he's strong as hell. I can tell you that. The dude is a boa constrictor. I've
trained with the Tifi. How are you going to choke that neck? There is no neck there, John. That guy has no neck. He's just like I don't want to say butterball, but he's just like a little ball of muscle.
He's like a block.
Yeah, you can't move him. He's strong as hell as well.
He ain't as strong as Oleinik, I'm just telling you.
Okay, maybe he's not as strong as Oleinik, but I think he's definitely, isn't he younger? He's a lot younger than Oleinik. Oleinik's what, 44, 43?
He's up there.
He's up there. He's slowed down quite a bit in terms of his striking, his wrestling, trying to close that distance. He's 44. There you go. So he's 44 years old. He's 59-16. That's a lot of damn fights, John.
Damn straight it is.
Jeez. And Latifi is 15-8. I got a little trivia question. I know you know it, but do you guys remember how he got into the UFC?
Yeah.
Last minute replacement in Sweden as the main event for Gus, because Gus got hurt.
That's right.
And who did he end up fighting?
Come on, dude.
Oh, I totally forgot, John. I forgot who he forgot.
Look at his first fight.
Yeah, his first fight. Oh, Gegard Mousasi.
Hello. Not a fun fight to get right off the bat, but yeah.
No. But I do recall he went the distance.
He went the distance.
He's hard to finish. I also feel like, Gegard, he fights to his level of competition.
He does.
You give him somebody who is not on his level, sometimes he gets him out of there. Sometimes he's like, why am I going to take the chance? And he was, in that fight, I think he was dominating the fight. He just was like, I'm just going to keep cruising. Anyways, all right. But that was a little throwback knowledge there, which I didn't know the full answer to. That's why I pulled on John's brain cells. It was like, But hey, John, the fight, honestly, I know you like Jennifer Maia, but I'm going to skip that fight real quick. I'm going to go right to the other fight that I think is going to be a sneaky good fight. Max Griffin versus Neil Magny.
I think it's a great fight. Max Griffin
is going to be fun.
The real question, Max is faster than Neil. I think he's got more power than Neil. I think Neil's got the better gas tank, and it's
better fight IQ.
I agree with you. Not that Max doesn't have a gas tank, but he does tend to step on the accelerator and kind of put himself into a deficit and has to come back from it, where Neil just keeps that pace and just keeps on coming. He's like a tidal wave. It's just more of a flow that just keeps on pushing you back. So, but it's a great fight. It's interesting. We'll see what happens. I do think that on the ground, Neil has an advantage.
Yes. You don't think on the feet either with that reach?
No, I actually think I think Max is on the feet. I think he's I actually give him an advantage on the feet. Not that Neil's not good. It's just that Neil doesn't have the power to stop Max.
See, I look at Max having the advantage in the first round, but as he slows down, Neil's going to keep touching him and touching him and touching him.
I agree.
That Nick and Nate Diaz style of just frustration of like,
that's Neil Magny's
fight when I don't want to.
That's Neil Magny's whole freaking MO.
Yep.
Man.
Making fighters fight with their back foot on that against the fence, making them more tired, not making them fight when they don't want to fight. That's what he does. He does it just like Nick and Nate do, and it's super frustrating for a lot of fighters. And they start to gas out even faster. And Max, he's going to be a stud, I think, for that first round and a half. But as that fight goes on, if it does hit the ground, Neil's got the advantage on the ground. And I think as the fight goes on, he's got the advantage on the feet because that power with Max, he'll throw it. He will dissipate, but he'll still throw it and load up. And if he misses, it's going to go away even faster. So, and it's hard. It's going to be hard for him to cover that distance throwing that kind of heat because he's going to load up a little bit more because Neil Magny's a long SOB.
Yeah.
So,
he is.
But overall,
tall.
Like I said, guys, this card should be kind of a good card. I mean, there's a couple fights in here, that people aren't going to know their names because I don't know their names. John and I'm just being honest. But the fights that we mentioned, like I don't understand how. Scroll back up, please. I don't understand how the Kai Kara France fight is not the co-main event and Askarov fight. How is that not the co-main event? You have two guys that are ranked like number, I don't know, I think they're like 5 and 6 or 4 and 6 or something like that, I believe. How are they not the co-main event?
I don't know. Because you got to figure.
Askarov is
Cara France is coming off with the knockout over Cody.
6, and Askarov is 2. Askarov is 2, and Kai Cara France is number 6.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Bellator does sometimes the same thing. I'm like, what are you doing? You've got 2. Like we had a fight, I think, on the last card that was in the there was 2, I think it was 2 females, I believe, right? I think they were ranked in the top. No, maybe I'm wrong. Anyways, but I know we've done it before in the past. I know we've done.
Oh,
John, you're asking me to remember where my keys were yesterday. I don't remember. But overall, guys, so make sure you guys check out the UFC event this weekend. Like I said, some good fights on the card. John and I broke it down for you guys. Kind of keep an eye out on some of these guys. Enjoy. All right, Dave, let's get into some news.
All right, let's get into some news. So the first piece is the big one that obviously came out in the last couple of days here, and it's to do with Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal. So, they went 5 rounds with each other, and here we are post-fight in the streets of Miami, trying to decide who the king is. Jorge Masvidal reportedly wearing a mask, sucker punched Colby, cracked his tooth, and now faces felony charges. Let's get your reaction.
I look at it a couple different ways, John. There's a lot of people that say they would do something when you talk about their family and talk about their kids, or do something to their family and their kids, and there's motherfuckers that will
people that will actually do it.
Yeah, and that's what the difference is. I mean, people will talk about it, and there's people that will do it. And so I think in this situation, it's a shit situation for George, because you just took yourself from being a draw. I know you lost your last fight to Colby. I get it. I understand the frustration and all those things that come with it. But you think by doing 6 months in jail or 3 months in jail or paying a hefty fine, doing all those things, possibly community service, taking you away from your kids, is going to be worth it? You think your kids are going to care in 10 years? They're not going to care. They're not going to even know who the hell Colby Covington is. So when you get into these kind of things, it just takes time. Being a part of the fight business, you're still involved in it. I know that George has come up a different way than a lot of other people, so that maybe a lot of that has to do with it. But in this situation, I don't agree with what he did. Because there is a chance he may get slapped with some time for this. Because from what I read was that he was wearing a hoodie. He was wearing a mask, and he walked up from behind him. That's dangerous. Like, it's just dangerous, John. I mean, if he would have knocked him out like cold, and he hit his head on the concrete and died, or anything like that, split his head open, you'd be looking at something that it's just not worth it, man. Do you think your kids would care more that you beat up somebody that said something bad about them? Or do you think they'd care if they want their dad around? That's the difference. Like, you gotta start weighing those things out. I mean, words. I'm not gonna say too much about you touch my kids. That's a different lifestyle. Different. Yeah. That's my kids will remember that, And so, but when they will remember the fact that you didn't do anything, And this situation is different. Like, words.
Yeah.
Nah.
I don't know the circumstances of what really happened. I don't know if Masvidal did come up behind him and sucker punch. I don't know. All I know is it's not good.
No.
I know you can be upset with someone and what they say, and the whole thing of King of Miami, or who gives a shit? There is no King of Miami. I'm just telling you, it's not Colby and it's not Masvidal. It's like there's no point to this that's going to work for you in a way that you can tell me it was worth it. It's not going to be worth it. And Colby, in certain situations, it's almost like what you said. Can Colby press charges? Sure. Yeah. But, do I think that, Masvidal is going to get a whole lot of, time thrown at him or anything like that? No, I don't. And especially, at least I do think it's good that he attacked another fighter. He didn't attack, even though he's just an average citizen when he's on the street like that, and he shouldn't be attacked. So it's just too bad. Shouldn't happen.
Yeah. But John, we talk about this. I think I've said this a bunch of times when I was talking about Stephen A. Smith. This is the type of shit you gotta be careful about. because there's like I said, there's motherfuckers that will do this. Like you say something like this about Nick Diaz, they see you in the elevator, Jorge Masvidal. You see like there's certain fighters not just in that are just fighters in any organization. They don't sleep on them. Don't think that just because you said something in the media that one day they're not going to run into you and hold it to you. And that's what's scary. Like you guys be very careful about how you take that next level of talking shit. I mean, I don't agree with. I don't think George should have went out and did what he did. I want to make sure that's clear. No. But I also don't agree with Colby and the style in which and I didn't agree with certain other fighters that did the same thing.
Oh no.
When Chael did the whole thing with Jenna Jameson, talked about Tito, that to me was
cross the line,
top, man. Cross the line.
There is that line, and you should know it, and you know when you're stepping over it, and it's been done by a lot of guys. But once you step over that line, you're breaking the code of look. You can go after the person all you want. You know, Josh, if you and I were fighting, you could say whatever you want about me. Doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. I can say whatever I want about you. Doesn't matter. But I don't bring your family into it. I don't bring your religion into it. I don't bring those types of things because that has nothing to do with this fight. It has nothing to do with what we're going to do. And you and I are the ones that can settle it. It can either be real or not. Sometimes it is real. Sometimes it is not. But it's words, and when it's you against the other guy, and so what? You say, and I would tell you, you know, if we were fighting, I'd say, dude, say whatever the fuck you want. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. All right, next.
Well, and if you want to talk about who the real king of Miami is anyway, Conor McGregor was given the key to the city of Miami.
That's awesome.
Year, so.
I'm sorry.
So you know, until one of those guys beats Conor, Conor is the king of Miami.
Yeah, so both of those guys are talking shit about King of Miami, and in slides Conor
McGregor.
I love it.
If I was Conor, I'd be showing up to their next fights with the key around my neck.
Exactly. All right. Anthony Smith was called out by Ankalaev and Paul Craig, and he says yes to both. Who do you give him?
Craig.
Ooh. Really?
Paul Craig. Yeah. Yep.
Why?
I don't think he beats Ankalaev. Not right now. I think he needs a couple. He's ramping up. Smith is. He's doing better. I think he's had a couple good performances as of late. But I think the Paul Craig situation is a perfect fit for him. You know, I like Anthony Smith and I like Paul Craig.
So do I.
But I think it makes for a great fight. The Ankalaev fight, I think it's a really tough road for him.
Yeah.
Hey, don't get me wrong. I mean, he needs to make a run for the title. I mean, I think it's if you want to get to that title shot sooner, go right ahead and do it. But I think a couple more wins, a couple more chances at a win. I think that fight is a 50-50 chance. You know, him and Paul Craig. It's a 50-50 split. On the feet, he's better. On the top position, he's got his prize. He's got his work cut out for him. Yeah. He's good. He can do some work on the top.
Sure.
He could probably knock Paul Craig out from the top, but we just found out he's gonna be very careful from the top position. And on bottom, I don't even think it's close. I think he gets worked.
Oh, if he's underneath him, trouble.
Yeah, if Paul Craig's on top, it's not going to be good for Anthony Smith. But I think Anthony's he's good on the feet. He's good enough. He's way better than Paul Craig on the feet. So the two of them mixing it up on the feet, no good for Paul Craig. Him getting the takedown is not going to be as easy as people think. Anthony Smith's just not going to fall down to his back. He's going to defend the shit out of that.
Yep, I agree.
But I think Paul Craig's a stud, man. We saw last week, and he is dynamic and explosive when it comes to his submission, his attacks. That armbar triangle game is on fire. I don't think I've seen a better one in terms of in the cage.
I honestly think the fight I'd rather see is Anthony against Paul Craig. I would rather see that than Anthony against Ankalaev right now.
Yeah.
That's the fight that I think would be.
So you agree?
Fun. I agree.
Nice.
I do. Very nice. Nicely put. Well done, Josh Thompson.
Yes.
I do think that's the fight I would rather see right now.
I want to let all the fans at home know that, sometimes John does agree with me. The great minds think alike every once in a while. It's nice to have you on my level, buddy.
I can only stay there so.
I know. Yeah, you've been slumming it too long. Yeah. All right, guys. Sorry. All right, Dave. What's next?
All right, and some big Bellator news. Sergio Pettis is out of the Bantamweight tournament, and Juan Archuleta steps in and fights Rafion Stotts for the interim title.
That's Rafion Stotts.
Oh, sorry.
You gotta say
I'm pretty sure
right.
you've said both, John.
I have never said
I could be
Rafion
wrong.
Stotts.
Rafion. It's like he's Portuguese.
It's Rafion.
Rafion.
Look, I thought it was good when Bellator actually put Sergio Pettis and Stotts together. They were teammates, but you got to face them sometime. I thought the first round was actually a good call. Sergio ended up being injured. He has to have surgery. He's completely out of that tournament, which kind of puts a little bit of a damper on it in the sense that there is no title that's going to switch hands possibly throughout, but we'll see what happens. You still have the actual Grand Prix title. And then you take a look at this right now. Sergio is going to be replaced by someone. We'll find out who. But Juan Archuleta against Stotts, both come from a wrestling background. Big difference in speed. Stotts is a faster fighter than Archuleta, but Archuleta is a guy, you talk about a gamer, a gutsy dude, a guy that brings the pace, never stops. That's the guy. So I think it's still a great fight. I look forward to it.
I think Sergio did a very smart thing. Said, I'm going to schedule this surgery right now, which is perfect timing. Look, he'll still be champion. He can fight the winner when they're all done. Yeah. My thought is that I believe that they will probably have an interim title that starts off maybe for this fight. You've got Juan Archuleta, you got Stotts. They're basically ranked 1 and 2 or 2 and 3, however you want to call it. They will fight for but the interim title. That title can change hands throughout the tournament. Whoever ends up with it at the end will be the Bantamweight World Grand Prix champion, as well as the interim champion. And they will fight Sergio Pettis. Yeah. I think that's pretty much that brings a little bit more of the excitement to make sure the interim title goes long. And we're going to find out who the best bantamweight is in the world in this tournament until Pettis is back. That's really what it's going to come down to. Yeah. It's going to be good. Like, Stotts is a stud. Everyone I've talked to, because Stotts was over at Extreme Pro Tours. Yeah. He's over there for a little bit, and he was also down at some places down in Houston area.
He's been jumping around.
Everyone's been talking about how great he is. Like, he's legit. He's the real deal. And I said, I knew that. I go, but I wanted to give me some details. And no, he's the speed on the feet, the wrestling, his wrestling. They're he doesn't get enough credit for his wrestling. His wrestling's really good. Yep. And that kind of concerns me a little bit for Juan. Yeah, because Juan's got good wrestling, but he doesn't have he doesn't have Rafion Stotts level wrestling. Where I think he's going to be able to push on Stotts is in a 5-round fight. He's going to have to push Stotts to that level. One thing he's got is cardio. Yep. He's got good cardio. The way he changes his stance, but where he kind of lacks, whereas TJ Dillashaw doesn't, because they're training partners and the way they switch their stances, they mimic each other very well. TJ has more output. He puts the combinations together better. He goes striking to the head kicks, to the body kicks, to the inside leg kicks. He needs to be more active like that if he's going to have success against Stotts. He's got to really get Stotts guessing on where he's going, so Stotts has to revert to basically utilizing his wrestling. Because if you're switching your stances a lot and changing up the combinations from the striking of the hands, mixing up to the head kick, that's going to make probably Stotts a little uncomfortable. That will probably get him back into utilizing his wrestling, which is now becomes a more one-dimensional fight for you.
Yeah, but you're going off of, God, it might have been, was his loss to Pettis his last fight, Archuleta's?
I believe so.
Yeah, but you got to look at it and understand, he broke his foot in the first round. That took away all of that changing of the movement, the changing of the stances, his ability to do things, his ability to push off. He could only push off when he was in one stance. So you take a look. That did have an effect on him. We'll see what happens. The driving on the takedown against the fence. Yep. If you can only use one foot, one leg, to drive into him, that's hard to get the takedowns. It is. So, I think it's a great fight. Obviously, when you're taking a look, Juan is the guy, coming into this. He's already held the title, a little bit older and not as fast, but he does have a gas tank. And, man, he's always in shape, and he always comes and pushes the pace. I think it's a fun fight still. I think it's a good matchup. Bellator did a good job switching it up.
Who replaces Sergio?
That is the question.
Josh Hill?
Who should it be? Josh Hill or should it be
Hill?
Lugo?
No, Josh Hill.
Josh Hill.
Josh Hill. Yeah, Lugo's not ready for these guys. He showed me his last fight. He's not ready for these guys. I like Lugo. I think he's a talented fighter. He's not ready for this level. He's there. He's in that top 7, 8, whatever he is. But if you look at the rankings, I think Josh Hill, he's fought the better guys.
He has.
The better competition, and he's ready for this upper level of competition. I think he could, depending on who they match him with, because now it's not going to be Stotts. So who does he get then? So
he's already fought Stotts.
Yeah, so they put Juan in there. Juan was supposed to fight somebody else. I think Juan was supposed to fight Horiguchi. So he's probably
Patchy Mix is fighting Horiguchi, I believe.
So now Patchy Mix fighting Horiguchi. So who's the other guy that's left?
You got Gallagher. You got Higo.
James.
And who else am I? Who am I? Oh, Magomed.
Yeah. So then Josh Hill will have time to prepare for Magomed.
Oh, lucky him.
Yeah, lucky him. Poor guy. Poor guy. Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, that would make sense. Interesting. All right. Well, Josh Hill, I think he's going to be the replacement. I don't think Jornal Lugo in that spot. Not just yet.
Yeah, I agree with you.
They're going to use Josh Hill. Be smart.
I can see it.
Smart on their part.
Yep.
Dun dun dun. So then you're going to have Providence. You've got James Gallagher fighting Higo. There you go. There's a little beef there too. That SBG slash.
I'll tell you this. James Gallagher is maturing as a fighter. James Krause is doing a great job with him because he's been in Kansas, living in Kansas, working with Krause and his crew, and he's basically he has Krause in his corner. And Higo better not come in with that "I'm going to knock you out" attitude. Going for the big shots, not going to work for him. He needs to fight a smart fight to get a win against Gallagher.
Yep, I agree. Next.
All right, last story here. We have an official title announcement for Bellator in Hawaii.
About time.
Juliana Velasquez versus Liz Carmouche.
Juliana Velasquez versus Carmouche. I mean, Liz looked absolutely stunning in her last fight.
Yep.
Great knockout. Yep. That's what she needed to catapult herself into this title talk. But, man, Juliana Velasquez right now is on fire. Undefeated. What is she, 12-0? 11 or 12-0? I think she's 12-0.
12-0.
She's
good.
A stud. Judo. She's a
strong.
Former judo national team, correct?
National team in judo, but likes to stand up and fight.
But likes to stand and fight.
Fights long, keeps her opponent at the end of that reach, doesn't back up. Is smart when she does and circling out. She's a good fighter.
Yeah.
Very sharp, very aware.
I look at her, though, is that I criticize her a little bit as someone that I love the way she fights. She just needs more output. The more output, I think she can get fighters out of there.
Yeah.
She's so dominant and controlling these fighters and making them fight where she wants them to fight. My concern is that she's just not using enough output to get them out of there. She has them rocked. She gets them pushing backwards. She does whatever she wants on the feet. She can get them in trouble, sometimes drop them, but then doesn't let it all out to get them out of there. And that kind of, as a champion, you want to see them get those finishes because that's what she should be doing. She's dominating a lot of these females that step in the cage with her. That's how good she is.
Oh, no, you're absolutely right. I think her biggest problem is she knows, I'm winning, and she's comfortable with it. Instead of at times saying, I'm gonna end this. And you gotta have that. You gotta have that. That's a huge part of showing people that not only am I the champion, I'm the person that you don't want to get in the cage with. Mm-hmm. I'm a killer. And she has the ability to be. She's a beautiful person, sweetheart of a person, but you need to be a killer when that gate closes. It's time to go after your opponent. So
yep. I feel
that's
the same
what
way about
Liz did in her last fight, which I was very impressed with.
Yep. She
Liz
wasn't doing
had
that before, and then
no,
we
she
got
was.
on her a little bit.
Yeah, we did. Well, that's and it's like you got to be honest with people. Sometimes people get all upset when you actually speak the truth to someone, but it's what they need to hear. Mm-hmm. And this is not about I don't like you. This is not about I'm putting you down. This is about, hey, this is what I'm seeing, and this is what I've seen in this fight, and in this fight, and in this fight, and you got to change it. You want to be this person. There's only one way that's going to happen, and this is the way it's going to happen. And you got to be honest with them. And I thought Liz did a fantastic job, and she didn't do it because of what we talked about. She did it because she went out there with an attitude of, I'm going to finish you. And she went out and did it. Yeah,
she did. All right. Anything else? What you got?
Let's just comment on this last thing. This came out a little bit later in the day. Paddy Pimblett revealed that he made 12-12 for his UFC London fight. I don't know if it was the only second fight, but wow. It sounds like he did make another comment that he wishes he was making the money that some of the other guys were making on there.
Yeah, I saw the breakdown. I think it was like Molly McCann made like 132, and then a couple other fighters. What was it called? Aspinall, I think, made like 380. I mean, that's a pretty good number for Aspinall. 380s.
He's a heavyweight.
Yeah, I know, but John, he was barely top 10 at the time he took this fight, I believe. You know what I mean? I don't even know if he was. I think he was number 11. Maybe he was number 9. Anyways, he was somewhere in that mix. He's going to jump to number 6, I think, now, something like that. Somewhere down in that mix.
7, 8, somewhere.
Yeah, but but that just goes to show that heavyweights get paid more for not being as talented as the lighter guys.
Let's be.
I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. You guys should all know me by now, right? I'm gonna always say that the heavier guys always get all the love, and the lighter guys always get shit on.
Let's go a couple things here. I got a lot of people talking about what I said about Patty. That I want to see him fight better competition, and that I'd seen him fight actually better competition in Cage Warriors. I will say that Patty gave up or told the UFC no on a contract and re-signed with Cage Warriors because he said, I'm not ready. I don't believe I'm ready. And when I go there, I want to be ready. And I thought that showed a lot of maturity when he did it. And now that he's gone there, if he's making 12-12, he's fighting the right guys.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be honest and say it. I would be wrong if that's what he's making is 12-12, and I'm surprised that's what he's making. But if that is what he's making, then he's fighting the right guys, because this is about, if you're getting paid a low, salary as far as, what you're making to go in there and fight, then your caliber of competition shouldn't be, some of the better, guys out there, because you're not getting paid to fight those guys. Those guys are dangerous. And that's, that's part of like what, Sugar Sean O'Malley has talked about and stuff. And I don't blame them at all. I don't know what every guy is making, and I did not know what Patty was making. And if he's getting the 12-12, I know I think he got a $50,000 bonus, but that means nothing. That's not part of his thing. He gets the money, but that was no guarantee. And so, hey, at 12-12, take on all the guys that they give you at that level.
Yeah,
build your record. That's good.
That's exactly what you guys, I think, if you guys are listening to this show, you guys should understand that he doesn't need to fight barn burners. And we've talked about slow
not at 12-12.
Not at 12-12. And that Sugar Sean O'Malley, the same thing. Like, until he gets a new contract, keep fighting the guys that are going to give you in front of you to get the experience, the cage experience, just the experience against different levels of competition, and get in there under the bright lights and be like, hey, this is my home. I feel comfortable here. Until you've gotten in that cage, you don't understand how many times it takes to get in there and feel good.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, okay, like when you show up at a new, like say I've fought in every promotion around the world. Every time I've gone,
different.
That first one is just different. And the second one still kind of feels a little different. You start to feel a little bit more like home, the second one.
At least you've
been there. By that third fight, you feel better. Like, this is my spot. You know all the staff that works for that promotion. You know wherever, like people that are helping you, and you know who's picking you up at the airport. You know who's weighing you in. You know where you're signing posters.
You know what's expected of you.
Exactly. You have a routine on how things are handled that makes you feel a lot better fighting for that promotion.
Yep.
He's only on fight number 2. he's got a lot of growth. And people are like, oh, no, he's never going to break the top 10. You guys, don't ever say never. Because at the end of the day,
he's a good fighter.
He's 27 years old.
Yeah.
I said they're going to slow play him for about 2 years. I just said that on the last show. Give him 2 years. You know how good of a fighter he'll be in 2 years in terms of his maturity and the way that he's going to progress because of his confidence of getting wins over fighters he should be getting wins over? That's going to make him mature a lot faster. Okay, I'm going to work a little bit harder. I'm getting these wins. That's what you hope to see out of your young talent. And I think he's somebody with the amount of support that he's getting from all the other people in London and all the other people in the UK, that he seems like someone that's got his mind set on how he wants to be, how he wants to control his career. And I'm pretty excited to see the progression. Do I think he'll be champion? I don't know. Do I think he'll be in the top 3? Do I think he'll be in the top 3? I don't know. I could see him definitely being in the top 10. I can't say if he's going to go further than that. But that's because that, and when you get to that top 10, John, we've said this before, you're talking about 1% really separates from number 8 to number 2 or number 1. It's like 1%. And it really depends on who shows up that day and who has the better night. I mean, sure, it's different in different weight classes, you know, like heavyweight from the champion down to number 10. There's a big jump, you know, but you get into these lighter weight classes from 55, 45, maybe even sometimes 70. There's not much of a jump. It's maybe 1-2% of level and skill and you know, and talent. Yep. It's not much.
Oh,
I mean,
no,
he's right there.
Yeah, you're talking about very small percentages are the difference between you winning and losing at that level. And, you know, like I said, I know that he had turned down a contract with UFC so he could get more time, get better. And if he took this contract saying, look, I'll take less if you give me lesser opponents, and that happens all the time, and there's nothing wrong with it. It is the way of building people. Then that's fine. You're going to get guys that go in there and say, no, I want to make this, and they're going to tell him. Then you're going to have to fight tougher people. Okay, no problem. And sometimes that's a good call. Sometimes it's not. You know, and we could talk all day long about people that have made those decisions. They've been right. Some have been wrong. It's just the way it is. So I look at that 12 and 12. Whoever they give you, I don't care.
Yep. No, I agree. Anything else? Dave?
No, that's going to wrap it up for this week's midweek show.
All right, that wraps up, like Dave just said, this week's midweek show.
this week's midweek show.
Go to the Weighing In podcast for the merch that we provide. The Weighing In merch is available. We have the Hindsight is 50-50. The Joshism is up. And we've got the And Still. Hashtag And Still is up as well. That's a pretty dope shirt, Dave. You did a good job designing that one. And the Hindsight 50-50 is obviously a comical one, which I'm going to have to order as well. But yeah, they are up now. We've obviously we have hoodies, crew necks, sweatshirts. We've got all different colors of shirts as well as our Beast Mode. Our OG logo is up. And I want to thank you guys for continuing to support us at weighinginpodcast.com. Check out the merch. Thanks, guys. And also hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, all of our audio platforms. Subscribe to us. Listen to us in the car when you guys are driving to and from work on our audio platforms. Don't watch us on YouTube. All right? Watch it. Listen to us in the car. Don't get distracted. We want you guys to be safe, as John always says when we leave the show. And I want to thank you for continuing to support us. And thank you.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. To everyone out there, thank you for listening and tuning in. We hope you enjoyed. We are here to entertain you, I think. Go out there, do something good for somebody. Take care of yourself, and we will see you.